Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from in the world. Welcome to today's class, the first class in this sprint, Excel. These are the one in the Excel class, which is a 4 weeks program starting from today. All right, so we'll be discussing or learning or interacting with getting to know Excel, understanding Excel interface, workbook versus worksheet, rows, columns, cells, ranges, naming, how to enter data in the data type, and we have exercise to do at the end of the class or at the course of the training. This class is going to be an interactive one, so I expect everyone to contribute, share your ideas, call my attention anytime you have question to ask. Excel is interesting because it's something that everyone needs on a day-to-day basis. So we'll go straight into what we have, getting started with Excel. I'm on the second slide, getting started with Excel. What is Excel? Microsoft Excel is a spreadsheet application used to store, organize, and analyze data. It features and tools for calculation, graphing, pivot tables, and function for decision making. Excel is widely used in business, education, and research. So if you've ever used Excel before or seen Excel interface before, you know that it's a very powerful tool that can be used for data analysis. We use it for record keeping, stock taking, forecasting, prediction, and to do any kind of records, to keep any kind of records, either in the hospital, educational sector, business, at home, anywhere, you can use Excel. So Excel is that powerful. Excel is very, very powerful. So everyone needs Excel in our day-to-day life. We need Excel even in the church, in any organization you can think of. So that being said, we'll dive straight to what we have. The second thing here is understanding Excel interface. So we're going to open Excel and explore the Excel interface. We know the difference between workbook and worksheet. We explore rows and columns, cell ranges, and maybe arrays. So my Excel open, this is my worksheet where I am. Okay. So Excel interface is similar to that of MS Word. If you join the last print on MS Word, you should be familiar with something like File tab, Home tab, Insert tab, Page layout, formulas. Formula was not there. Page layout, Review, View, Help. The only thing you didn't see in MS Word that's here today is formula, data. MS Word does not have formula and data tab, but we have it here in Excel because it is very, very useful here. Excel is used for calculation, statistical analysis, data analysis. So we need formulas and also data. Okay. So what you see in front of you here is the interface of Excel. As we know, this is the scroll bar. The scroll bar was there in MS Word and is still here in Excel. If you check down here, MS Word also has something like this called the status bar. So here, this is our status bar. It is showing ready here and accessibility good to go. You can see this is normal, this is page layout, and this is page break preview. So this is our status bar here in Excel, just as we have status bar here in MS Word, right? Excel also have its own status bar. Your own interface might not look like my own because I'm using the latest version of Excel. Office 2021. If you are using Office 2020, Office 2013, 2016, the interface might look slightly different, but everything I assure you is almost the same, right? So this remains our scroll bar, the right scroll bar. This is our bottom scroll bar. Remember, I told you when we're dealing or learning MS Word that we have two scroll bar, which one is vertical and the other one is horizontal. But in MS Word, it was not pronounced, or let me say, the bottom scroll bar was not showing because there was no need for it. We could see our workspace from left to right. The only thing we're not seeing was up to down. If you scroll down, you'll not see the top, and if you scroll up, you'll not see the bottom, right? But we could see our left and the right end of our workspace, which is this. You can see this is the right side, sorry, the left and the right. We could see. So there's no point for the word for the bottom scroll bar. But if I want the bottom scroll bar to show, what do? I zoom in or zoom out rather, right? I zoom in, sorry. So when I zoom in, you see the bottom scroll bar popped up, right? There's a need for it now. Why? We cannot see the right side of our workspace. So there's need for the bottom scroll bar. We scroll down there, or we scroll toward that side to see what is hidden. Okay. So in Excel here, Excel is so large. In fact, we have over 16,000 columns like this vertical. We have over 16,000 columns, which the last one is XFD. In fact, for me to get there, I will use my control and the arrow key, the right arrow key, XFD. This is the last column there. And down we have 16,000, we have 1,048,576 rows. 1,048,576 rows down, right? So there is need for both the bottom scroll bar and the right scroll bar here in Excel. Okay, so I return back to the first cell here. So we start by exploring this, right? As I said, the only difference between MS Word and Excel here from, let me say, comparing the tab is what? The formula and the data, which are present in Excel but absent in MS Word because there's no need for it here. Okay, we have another bar here called the formula bar. You see XF. This XF is the formula bar. Whatever we type here or that we do here will show in the formula bar. So if I type anything here, you will see it where in the formula bar. Genesis. It's appearing here. So if I have 1, it will also show there. 2 will also show the formula will also show there. That's why it's called the formula bar. So if I want to calculate this, let me say auto sum it. You also see the formula I use here for the function, right? So if I am fast, you call my attention. If I'm too slow, you call my attention. If you don't understand me, you call my attention. Follow me because Excel can be a bit interesting and also it's not confusing. It's interesting, I must say. We just learn, we'll learn it gradually and we'll get there. Okay. So what you see here, the whole of this place is our worksheet. You can see here we have sheet 1. Just the way we have page 1 in MS Word. In MS Word, you see you can see page 7 of 7 here. It means 7 pages are open and we are currently on page 7. In Excel, we don't call them pages, we call them sheets, right? So what's the difference now between the worksheet and the workbook? In MS Word, we have pages, different pages or one page forms a document, right? Don't forget that when you open here, what you see here, if this file is a new file, let me open a blank new document. You can see this showing document 1 here, right? So it's telling you that a file in MS Word is called a document. So a file in Excel here is not called a document, it's called book, or we call it workbook. So a difference between a workbook and a worksheet can be likened to the difference between a document and a page, right? Different pages combined or one page is called what? A document. Why here in MS Word, a file, a single file, right? Or let me say different sheet or a single sheet forms what is called what? A workbook. And this workbook is our file, already. The workbook, or let me say, yeah, the workbook is our file. If I save this workbook as something, let's say Genob store, it is our file, right? So the file is called the workbook. Like, as we call Word, a file in MS Word, a document, we call a file here workbook, or we call it a book, right? So it's you book one and Excel to show that, okay, this book is created using Microsoft Excel. If we're using Google Doc, so Google Sheet, it will show us book one and Word, Google Sheet here instead of Excel. So this Excel is telling you the application you are currently using to process this word, this file or workbook, right? So is anyone confused about the difference between worksheet and a workbook? Is anyone confused?
No,
Oh, okay. All right. So I recap, a worksheet is like a page here in Excel.
Or maybe for simpler clarity, we can just say that the worksheet is a particular or the particular sheet we are working on.
Okay.
Or the page, even the MS we call it page, but here we call it particular or the present sheet you are working on. While the workbook is the entire sheet or page that is involved in it. I don't know if that will be more or if it is right.
Yes, I think that's perfect. So a worksheet is like we said, it's a sheet, it's just like a page, right? By different pages, or even if it is one sheet alone, it is called what? A workbook. It depends on how many sheets are open. So this workbook, this is a workbook. Everything here that we're dealing or that we're doing is a worksheet. Even if I add other sheets, right? I'll add new sheet. For me to add a new sheet, it's not like MS Word, whereby if you enter a new sheet, right? Here we need to create sheet manually. How do I create a new sheet or add another sheet? By default, your own Office or Excel might show 3 sheets here. The previous versions will show what? Sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. But this one will only show what? One sheet, a single sheet. So for me to add more sheet, I click on what? The plus sign to add another sheet. You can now see that we have what? Sheet 1 and sheet 2. They are not the same. Let me write something here. You not see it in sheet 1. It's not there, right? So we can rename this sheet based on what the sheet represents. Let's say I am working on a data. So a data will have customers record, and it will also have, let me say, a particular file can have customers record. It will also have other records, and it will also have maybe attendance or anything, customers information and all of that. So if this is my customers information, what do? I rename this file and call it what? I mean, this very sheet and call it what? Customers information. So I rename it. To rename it, you right click on the sheet name or double click to edit it. So I right click here. Once I right click, I click on rename. Then I rename this as, let me say, content. Content. This is sheet 2. For me to rename it, remember we can double click to rename, or we right click to rename. So I call this word practice. Practice. So 2 sheets are open. If I want to add more sheet, what do? I click on the plus sign. So note one thing, we have content and the sheet 2 is what? Practice. If I stand here and add another sheet, it will be added between the content and the word practice. So let's add it. We have content, sheet 3, and practice, right? So this is the sheet. I can also rename this. We can move this sheet over to this side or move this one backwards. How do we do it? For you to move a sheet, you click on the sheet and drag it over the other one. drag it over. Okay, can you see it? I drag this tray over, it override the other one move to the other side. So that's how we can move sheets. Including this one, you can move it over, it will replace the other one, and the other one will change backward. It will not replace it. One will move backward while the other move forward. Okay, so that's all about worksheet. But if we have the worksheet menu open, what do we do? And want to see all the worksheet present here, we can right click here, not on the worksheet itself. See this arrow, backward and forward. We can use this one to move forward or backward. But if we have several worksheets open, say 10 worksheets, 15, 20 worksheets, we can stand here, right click to see all the worksheets that are here. So we have sheet 3, practice, content. If I click on any one, it will take me to that particular worksheet. I can either click once and say okay, or double click for it to open. Double click it to open. I'm in practice, right? Any question? Any question on how to create? We can also delete this sheet 3. Let's say I don't need this sheet 3 again. What do? I right click on it and say delete. I delete it. I'm in practice. Move to the end. I want to copy, but okay. Create a copy. Thank you. So I've created a copy of this content, and I have content and word content too, right? Alternatively, if I want to copy it, I can click on it and click my control key. Once I hold my control key down, click on it, you see a plus sign popping there. I drag it over and I make a copy. You see content 2, content 3. The same way, I can remove anyone I don't want again. So I delete it. So basically, what you see here, you are seeing a bunch of grid lines, vertical and horizontal grid lines. The vertical grid lines forms what is called a column. These are grid lines, and these are horizontal grid lines. So these grid lines form what is called a column, which is what a vertical arrangement. Horizontally, we have rows, and we also have grid lines that form our rows. So where one row and a column intersect, it forms what is called a cell. There's an intersection here. Where row and column intersect, it forms what? A cell, right? It forms a cell. So these blocks we are seeing here are called cells. And these cells come together to form our rows or columns or ranges. Each column has a name. No two columns have the same name, and each row has its own name. No two rows have the same name. So this is called column. This is called row 1, row 2, row 3. And this is called column A, column B, column C, up to what? Column XFD, which is the last column here, and what? Row 1,048,576. So as I said earlier, the intersection of a row and a column forms what is called a cell. So this is a cell. Each column has a specific name or a unique or distinct name. Each row also has what? A unique name. And each cell also have a unique and distinct name. No two cells have the same name. How do I know? How do I know the name of each cell? We know the name of columns, that this is column B. We know the names of row, that this is row 3. Where row and column intersect, it takes the column heading or the column title of that column and the row heading or row title of that row to give the cell a name. We have row B highlighted here. We have column B highlighted and row 3 highlighted. This cell that is formed by the intersection of this column and the row is called what? Column B3. Take note of the name. We are going to use it a lot during calculation or when we start calculating, we'll be using the column or sorry, the cell names to reference it, cell name to call it out to perform calculations. So follow me. If you are lost, if you are confused, you call my attention. This is called cell C3. Why is it called C3? If you click on any cell, check what is highlighted, the column that's highlighted and the row that's highlighted. We cannot say this cell is called 5C. Why? If we're calling it 5C, it means we are quantifying the C. It is not a name. So the name is what? C5. Just like saying this is 5 Genesis or Genesis 5. Genesis 5 is more like a name. But when we say 5 Genesis, it means we have 1 Genesis, 2 Genesis, 3 Genesis, right? So that's how to name what? Cells. So we name cells using the column heading and the row heading, right? So if I click on the cell, you see a thick line going around the cell. That is to show the position of the word, the active cell at that particular time. So this is called the cell selector. This thick line here is called what? The cell selector. It shows the position of active cell. We cannot work outside the active cell. Whatever I do, I can only do it where the cell is active. If I move away from that place and type somewhere else, if I want to type somewhere else, I need to move the active cell to that very place to type, right? Then at the bottom right of the active cell, we have a small dot there. That dot is called the fill handle. Let me write something like, say, Monday. This is Monday, short form. So the fill handle, what does the fill handle do? The fill handle is used to copy formulas and functions and even contents. As the name implies, fill handle, it fills cells, right? Copying or referencing the first cell. So now, Excel understand that after Monday is Tuesday. After Tuesday is Wednesday, it get back to what? Monday. So if I use this fill handle to copy down, it will give me up to what? Even Tuesday, right? It will start from Monday, Tuesday, till it gets to Sunday and start again Monday, right? So Excel understand by default that after Monday is Tuesday. In the same way, I can write January. Excel understand that after January is what? February. And if I want to copy across the rest, what do I use? I use this fill handle. Standard fill handle. You should take note of the cursor, how the cursor changes or the mouse changes. The cursor changes, right? If you check here, it is showing a very thick and light, let me say light plus sign, while here is showing thick plus sign. Please, if you're not talking, you can off your mic. You can mute your mic, sorry. So the fill handle here is showing a very thick black plus sign, right? I click on it and drag. You see, I now have January, February, up to June. If I keep dragging, I can get to December and even back toward January. I keep dragging, you see. So this is called what? The fill handle. So what if I write 1 and enter? If I drag, what would show? We wrote January and use the fill handle. It showed us February up to January back, right? And same with what? Same with the weekdays, which is Monday, or weekday name, Monday, right? So if I drag down, it will show me Tuesday back toward Monday. So I now ask, if I write 1 and drag down, what will show?
So I wanted to explain something based on the question you asked.
Okay.
When in my own, when I type 1, then drag it down, maybe anywhere I drag it up to, it will bring an option. Those options, if you click, there is one that says fill in series. If you click on that fill in series, that is when it will begin to write from 1 to the number that you stop. If you stop at number 10, it will stop there. If you stop at 20, it will stop there.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, that's how it will work or operate. But by default, if you just drag down, it will give you 1, 1, 1, right? Because as I said earlier, Excel understand that after Monday is Tuesday, and all of us know that after Monday, there is no other day between Monday and Tuesday. We understand that after January, there is no other month between January and February, and we cannot even manipulate it. But after 1, what is the next number after 1? After 1, we can have 1.05 or 1.2, 1.3. So it is not, let me say, it is not static that, okay, after 1, we have 2. But if you ask somebody that, how does counting work? They will tell you after 1 is 2. But normal counting, we can say 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5. Or you can even see 1, 1.1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, till we get to 2.1, and the counting continues, right? Okay, so that's why Excel cannot just, the fill handle will not work the same way it works when you type what January. It's same thing like you typing your name. Let's say Raphael. Type Raphael, and you want to enter, you want Excel to automatically fill Genesis, Percy, Jimmy. Excel will definitely not fill it. Why? Because Excel does not understand all these people's name. It does not even know that you want to fill Jimmy and Co. Here, right? The same thing. It doesn't know if you want to fill two. But if you want it to fill that way, what do? You give it a pattern. Excel works well with patterns. What is the pattern here? The pattern is saying after 1 is 2. Excel will take note of the difference between 1 and 2. What's the difference between 1 and 2? The difference between 1 and 2 is definitely 1. It's saying 2 minus 1 is still 1, right? Okay. So what Excel will do, if you are dragging down, it's addition. If you are dragging backward or upward, is what? Subtraction. Because I have 2 here and I have 1 here. So if I'm dragging this other way, it's subtraction, right? Okay. I take it back again. Let me undo. I had 2 and 1. So if I drag like this, it's subtraction. But if I drag down, it's what? Addition. So if I highlight 2 and 1, or 1 and 2 together, and I drag down, is what? Addition of 1. After 2, 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. That's how Excel will be adding it for me. Then if I want to count, let's say even numbers, I can write 2 and write here 4. Okay, 4. Excel automatically know that, okay, the difference between 2 and 4 is 2, right? So the next number should be what? 4 plus 2, right? The next number will be 6, 10, up to 20. So that's what fill handle for you. Okay. What else do we have here? Let's explore the fill handle. You know the difference between worksheet and workbook. Rows, columns, cells, cell ranges, and naming. Okay. So let's check the cell naming or naming convention before we talk about data type, entering and editing data. So what is a range? We know cells, right? We know columns, we know rows. And we all know that where a column and a row intersect, it forms a cell. And this is called the cell selector, which is what? It shows the position of what? The active cell. And we also know that this is called the fill handle that is used to copy formulas, right? Another thing we need to know is what? The cell ranges. What is a cell range? A cell range is a combination of 2 or more cells. When 2 or more cells are combined, it forms what is called a range. Take note of the range because it is very, very important, and we'll be making use of it a lot when we start calculation. So when 2 or more cells are highlighted together, or 2 or more cells form what is called a range. A range can be horizontal like this, or it can be vertical. So a range that is vertical, it is definitely what? A column range. While the one that is horizontal is called the row range. If you check, this range is in row 10, and this range is in column B. Are you following? So this range is in column, this in row 11, column J. So this is called a range. But where one range, a range cut across different column, definitely this is a column, one column, right? Column I. If we cut across another column again, you can now see that we have highlighted, we have different rows here, which is row 8, row 9, row 10. And we also have different columns here, which is column I and J. This is no longer a range. This is called either a table or an array. But don't forget that each cell has a name, and the name of the cell, where we can find the name of the cell, is in what? This name box. This is called the name box. Any cell you click on, the name of the cell will show here at the name box, on the name box, right? If I highlight a range, the first cell that shows white, that is the one that actually have that range. That's the one, that way the, let me say, the name of that cell will display here at the word, at the name of the range. But that this is not actually the name of the range. It's only picking the first cell. Why? It cannot start telling us, okay, I9, or give this range a name on its own. We have to name the range by ourselves. Are we following? We have to name the range by ourselves. Are we together?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. We can rename these cells with any name of our choice. We can also rename a range. Remember, I told you if you highlight a range like this, Excel will not automatically give it a name. It will only pick the first cell and display the name in the name box, right? But I can name this cell with whatever I want to name it. Let's say I want to name it as Genop. I'll highlight the range and give it a name here, or rename a cell. Why is the naming convention or the naming of cells and ranges important to us? If I want to perform a calculation, I can easily perform a calculation by calling what? The range, or calling a particular cell by name. For instance, if this is total cell, let's say total cell, this very cell is the total cell, right? I want to add all this together to give me the total cell. And I'm performing a calculation somewhere where I need to subtract the total cell from, let's say, okay, subtract expenses from sales, or maybe sale from total sale from anything you want to subtract it from. I don't need to come here to check the position or the cell where the total sale is. What do? I have named it already as total sale. I can easily call the total sale there. So let's do something like that. I will name this my total sale, but before that, I want to do what? I want to enter the total sale here to get the total sale. Or I can just name this place total sale. So how do I do it? I click on the cell that I want to rename and come to where the name box and type the name I want to give it. So here I type what? Total sale here, and I enter. Okay. What do you see here? You must enter a valid reference. You must go to the name. Why? I'm not supposed to space. That's the naming convention. It's either I use underscore or I join the total and sale together. So let's name it again. Total. We can either say total sale or total underscore sale. And I enter. It's recorded. If I click here, this play will no longer show E17. It will show what? Total sale. I want to perform calculation here. This is my total sale. I want it to be here, right? I can just stand here, go home, and use auto sum and add everything together. Enter. This is my total sale. Don't forget. So in another place, I have maybe revenue. Let's just say revenue. Revenue. Here's my revenue, or revenue. This is my revenue here. My revenue is something like 1,000. Let me just say 1,000 is my revenue. I can name this my revenue, right? This cell J8 as my revenue. Revenue. Okay, I enter. So subsequently, maybe I'm on a different sheet like this one, and I want to know the difference between my revenue and my total sale. What can I do? I can easily say equal to, I want to perform calculation now, revenue. My revenue will show here. You can see it here. Revenue minus total sale. Total sale. And I will get the result, which is what? 892. Is it correct? Let's go back and check. This is my revenue, and this is what my total sales. So it's saying 1,000 minus 108, right? Definitely it will be 900 and no 898, right? Yes. 892. This 8, not 2. 892. So that's it. We can call it anywhere. Instead of me coming back to start looking for the cell that contains the total sale and the cell that contains revenue, I've named it already. I can call it anywhere. It will appear. Are we following? And if I want to see all...
Yeah.
You have a question?
Not really a question. My phone nearly switched off, so I was rushing to plug it and I got lost.
Okay, that's cool.
But you can go ahead. Maybe when you upload the video, I can watch from there.
Okay. I didn't do anything special. You got where I renamed the total sale and the revenue, right? Are we together? Okay. I said to rename a cell. You click on the cell and go to the name box, rename it. Click on the name box and rename it. Let's say here I want to name this Jane. Anywhere I call Jane, it will take me back to that place. So if I stand here and type Jane, it will take me back to that very cell, Jane. So anywhere, no two cells can have the same name. Each cell is unique. Each cell has a unique name. So if I name this one Jane and I want to name another cell again Jane, it will take me back to the cell that is called Jane. Okay. The same way, I can rename a range. This is very helpful, especially when we are calculating or when we are dealing with pivot. No, not pivot. Talking about VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, index and match. Will make use of range very well. So let's say this is my range, and this range, maybe it is called, this should be my, let's say, names. I want to just give it a name, like, I can call it sales. If this is sale, I can name this sale. So anytime I call sale, it will pick everything that is under this for me. So I have, let me use A1 to maybe A12. I've highlighted A1 to A12, and I want to call this my sale, or let me call this my expenses. I come to name box and rename it what? Expenses, right? This is my expenses. So anywhere I am, if I stand here and call expenses, it will appear here. If you want to see all the ranges, the cells that you've renamed, click on this drop down. Click on the drop down and you see all the names we've renamed here. Expenses, Jane, revenue, total sale. So, but you don't know which one is maybe a range or which one is a cell, a single cell. But if you click on it, it will definitely highlight it for you. I click on what? I click on expenses here and it will highlight it for me. So let's say I stand somewhere, I start entering numbers here. This is where it is helpful. I want to perform calculation. I'll say revenue minus expenses, right? I want to get something revenue, let me assume that I want to have a KPI, which will show me what my revenue minus expenses to get maybe cash at hand, right? Or the cash we have, or the total, anything you can call it, or balance. Let's say balance. The balance I have, let's assume this is balance. The balance I have should be what? My revenue minus expenses. So I'll perform that calculation saying equal to revenue. I have revenue here, minus expenses. I have expenses here. I click on it and I enter. Revenue minus expenses. Why did you fill it up? Revenue minus expenses. Okay. You know why it populated it down? Expenses here has how many cells? It has 12 cells, right? It was not a total, right? I just entered anything there under revenue. You get it is not a total, single cell total. But I can, if I want to populate, let me say if I want to have, let me have expenses as total here. This is where we have our expenses. This is sum of expenses here equal to summation. Instead of me adding all this together, I can just say what? Summation expenses. I type expenses here and I have sum of expenses. You can see that it is what? Highlighted, and I enter. So I can rename these. I can rename these expenses underscore or anything. So this is sum of expenses, and I want to rename this very one as expenses or expense. I name it as expense. So if I stand here, this is my balance, right? Revenue minus expenses. Equal to revenue. Sorry, equal to revenue. I click on it. If it appears, you click on it or you type it complete minus what? Expenses. Revenue. Okay, sorry, it is not expenses now. Is it expense we use? I didn't rename it. This, okay. Expense. Expense. I thought I renamed it. So this expense. All right. So revenue equal to revenue minus expense. I have it here. It's still showing 1,000. So if I come here and enter anything under revenue, it will be minusing it for me. And here, you can see deduction, right? Because this is what? It's totaling everything under expenses for me. And here, it automatically change. Anything I add here as my expenses will be subtracted from the revenue and will have the balance. So if I enter anything, let's say if you go to the supermarket, you buy something, they will minus it like this. I can also use this to take note of the stock I have in stock. I have stock, I have 100 mangoes in store, 100 books in store, and I have the total of it somewhere. And I say anyone you take should be entered here as maybe expense or whatever I want to call it. So if you enter it there, it will automatically subtract it here, and I will know the balance of books I have in stock, the balance of mango, the balance of pens I have in stock. So there's no need for me to go and count it again, because anyone you take, you enter it to subtract it from the revenue or the total we have, in case you are using total. Any question on renaming cells or naming cell and ranges? No,
This will have to.
no. Don't get yourself confused. We have not started. I'm just trying to open our eyes. Either we have not started, and I believe if you don't understand anything, just ask me now, because I'm here for you. Let me explain it now. You'll get it better. Should I take it again? Let the revenue not confuse you. Let the balance or the calculation not confuse you, because we have not started calculation. I'm just trying to tell you how namings are important in Excel, right? How namings are important in Excel. So with naming, we can easily call a name anywhere. And how to name or rename a cell or range, it is very what? Simple. It is very, very simple. If you click here, this drop down in the name box, it will show you all these cells and ranges that we've renamed, right? Expense, expenses, up to total sales. Any worksheet you go to, you click on, or the sheet you click on, it will also have the same name there, right? And I went ahead and said, we know ranges, we know cells. Now we have arrays. Like I said, arrays contain different columns and different rows to form an array. So this array, I can also give it a name. Let me say this is called exams. I want this array to be called exams. Another name for array can be called a table. Other will call it table array. So this is my table. I want to have this as my exams, whatever. So anytime I call exams here, it will highlight it for me. You see, it will highlight it for me. So this is an array. We also use array very well when we get to references, table references or structural references. That will be on VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, index and match. We'll get there. Okay, but I can rename a cell or a range so that it will be localized to a particular sheet alone. Remember, these cells, the names here, we all got them from this very worksheet, right? But I moved to a different worksheet. I'm still seeing them. Why? Because this name has a workbook scope. What is the workbook scope? What is the workbook name? Genoptech. Provided you are still inside Genoptech or Genoptech file is open, right? This Genoptech Excel file is open. Anywhere you go inside the Genoptech, either 1 million cells, 1 million sheets are open, 10,000 sheets are open. You will see all these names here. Why? Because they have what? A workbook scope. It's just like saying, this is my compound. I have access to the compound. Anywhere I can enter in the compound, right? You can enter anywhere in the compound. But we have another person or dog. Let me say we have a pet in the house. The pet can only stay in the pet house. He cannot go and stay in the living room or anywhere. The pet dog, right? The dog cannot go and stay where men are staying or where in the kitchen or anywhere. That pet is restricted. The restriction is that you can only stay inside your cage. You cannot stay outside the cage, though we are in the same compound, but your jurisdiction stop at where? That very cage where you are kept, right? So that naming convention, we can get it here. We name it in such that, okay, this name should not be found in any other worksheet apart from this current worksheet where I am. So if you check here, we have revenue total sales. So I want to bring in another thing and call a girl here. Let's see, Precious. So I want to name this range or this range here as what? Precious. I highlight it and I come to data, right? Not data, formulas. If I come to formulas, you see we have defined names here. So that defined names, we can define a name, we can use in formula, we can create from selection, right? We can create from selection. Here, we have, I'll move this away. Okay. Top row, left row, and others. That from what? From selection. But here, I can also define it here. And I say what? Define name. I click on define name or apply names. So let me click on define names. I click on define names. I have this window pop up. Can you see the window? Yes, I think. So here, if you check here, what is the scope? The scope is workbook scope. So I want to change this scope so that it will be localized to only a particular sheet that I've determined, right? If I want it to show only in this content or content 2, I will click on content or content 2 so that the name will only be found in what? Content. So I click on content. Here, I can give it a name. Okay, yeah, definitely I will give it a name. I say the name should be what? Precious. This is Precious, right? So if you check here, what is the reference? It's referencing content. This is the worksheet. You can say content. It's referencing H9 to H13. This is what? H9 here to H13. That is what? The range that has this name, Precious, or where Precious will be operating. And I click OK. So anyway, if I come here, I will see Precious, right? Precious. If I click on it, it will highlight this Precious. But if I move out of this content here to content 2, I will never see Precious again, because Precious has what? A worksheet scope, and that worksheet is called contents. You get this content? That's the worksheet scope of Precious. So I cannot call Precious the way I call Gene, expenses, wrap in any other sheet. Why? Because these ones, they have workbook scope, while this Precious has what? A worksheet scope. Do you understand the difference between workbook scope and worksheet scope now? Any confusion, argument, misunderstanding? We are good to go.
The way, like, God help us.
No. Am I too fast?
Now, picture I just they watch now.
Wait, is every other person having the same issue, or any other person having the same issue, like you're not understanding what we are doing? Please, this class is organized solely because of you. If you don't understand, then there's no need for me to proceed. We'll sleep here. That's the way I operate. I want you to understand something. But if you don't understand, call me immediately. I'll take it again. Okay. I will use an example again. Let's say I have
I want to ask the whole class the question. Please, did you all understand the
workbook scope? Workbook scope, worksheet scope, or sheet scope. Let's just put it sheet scope. Remember when we started, I explained the difference between workbook and a worksheet. And we all said we understood it, right? Let me take it again. If I give you a size book, and the size book is 18 leaf, the whole of that size book is called our book. The first page you see, or the first leaf, is our word, is our sheet 1. Here is because I have renamed this sheet as content. If not, this will be my sheet 1, right? And this will be my sheet 2. This will be my sheet 2. This will be my sheet 3. Let me add another sheet here. You see that it will have what? Sheet 6, meaning 6 sheets are open. For me to see all the sheets that are open, what do? I right click here. You see all the sheets that are open. We have content. We have content 2, content sheet 6 open here. So these are like our pages or our leaves in that notebook that we have. So the entire notebook is called what? Workbook. See it that way. Why the pages in each of the notebook are called what? Are called sheets. The pages or the leaves are called our sheets. And those pages that you have inside that your notebook, you can decide to give it a name and say this is the first page, the second page, third page. Or you say this first page is called a dog, the second one is called a cat. Probably because you have drawn a cat or a dog in a particular page, right? If I draw a cat here, I have a picture of a cat here in one of the leaves. I name that leaf my cat. If the content is table, like I name it table, right? So that's how you can rename each of the sheets here by right-clicking, rename. Like I rename this one as Precious. This sheet as Precious. or this sheet as content, right? So if I want to give a name, I say, okay, each of the notebook contain leaves and the leaf contain lines, right? And maybe the lines, we have cells inside. I can decide to name a particular line as Genesis. So if I name that line Genesis inside that very page, right? I'll say, okay, anywhere you go in the notebook, if you call Genesis, Genesis should not answer. Or the boundary of Genesis is restricted to the page Precious. But if I want Genesis to appear anywhere in the notebook, what do? I name it here. If I name Genesis here, anywhere I go inside that notebook, I will see Genesis. But if I don't want Genesis to show in each of the page or any other page apart from the defined page, right? What do? I go to formula and I use what? Under formula, this is formula tab, right? We have ribbon groups or panels here. So the panel is called define names panel. I go up, I see define name here, click on define name, and I'll give it a scope here. Here is a workbook scope. If I leave it this way, anywhere I go in the workbook, which is called Genop Tech Excel, anywhere I go, I will still see the name I will give to it here. Let me give the name dog here, dog. So anywhere I go in this workbook, because it's having what? A workbook scope. It's having a notebook scope. Anywhere you go in the notebook, you'll still see that 40 leaves. Let's say it's a watermark. The watermark is, anywhere you go, you see the watermark inside the book, right? You see the watermark. So that this dog is like, say, anywhere you call it, it should appear in the whole book because it's having what? A workbook scope. But if I want to define it, that okay, it should not carry a workbook scope. It should only carry sheet scope. I can say, okay, anywhere you go, you should not see dog apart from this particular sheet 6. So I say enter. I enter. This is what? Dog, right? So let's call dog anywhere here. Dog. Was it dog? We gave it. Oh, let me check. Yeah, it's dog. I call dog here, it will answer. So this is what the cell that contains dog. But if I move outside this very sheet, because I said dog should not answer anywhere apart from the defined sheet or defined leaf or defined page, right? If I go to another place, this practice outside Precious, I will not see dog. Okay, no. This one has a work book. Let's just consume what we have for today. Data types and editing data is not much. So data type here, we have the basic data type we have in Excel. I think they are just few. Let me pull this down. What do we have here? We have text data type that consists of character, including letters. This text, we have text data type, we have number data type. These numbers include values like integers, decimal, percentages, currencies, data, and others. Then text data type consists of character like letters and special symbols, while logical data type are true or false values. So these true or false values are not true or false that we type. They come from logical operations, right? Logical operators are something like, say, we are saying or comparison operator, we are saying is 2 equal to 3. If 2 is equal to 3, then it should be what? It should be 2. If I just stand here and say equal to this is equal to this, what will be the answer? It will be false. Why? 2 and 3 are not the same. Then if I change this to 2, it will be true. So you can say that I didn't type this true. It's what is a result of logical or comparison operation that was performed, right? So I was trying to check if this and this are the same. It would tell me definitely that's true. So let me type something like Monday. If I have something like Monday, then I have something like Tuesday. They are not the same. Monday, Tuesday are never the same. But if I have Monday, Monday, let's see. Monday, Monday, are they the same? True. This and this are the same. In the same vein, if I say 2 is greater than 3, so these are what? This is not a text, right? That is not, or this is not a text. It is what? It is a logical data type. Then we have error data type, which is value error, reference error, divide error, or when you divide something by 0. Let's say I have this 2 divided by 0 equal to this divide by what? 0. Divide my slash and 0. It will return an error, which is what? Division error, because we cannot divide by 0, right? We can also have another error, which is value error. Let's say we enter, if you check here, value error can occur when value error can occur when maybe a number is stored as value. It will return value error. For instance, we have something like this. Let's say 1T something. Then I want to add it to this 3, right? So let's just say I say equal to this multiplied by this. I may have a value error, but let's say if we have a value error, this multiplied by this. So let's see. We have value error. Can you see? Because this is not a value. This is a value, and I'm trying to multiply a value by non-value. I will definitely have a value error. And this is also what? A data type. Another data type, another error data type we have is value reference. When I reference something wrongly, I also have what? Reference error. When we get to references, we'll definitely see a reference error. So another data type we have is date and time data type. Let me take it again. We have number data type, which are integers or float or decimal numbers. We have numerical data type or data type. We have, let me just put data types here. Data types. We have numerical data type. We have text data type. Text, this numerical can be 1, 0 is a number, 1.1. So numerical data type actually is divided into 2, where we have what? Floats. Floats are decimal numbers. Floats are decimal number like 1.1, 2.0 something, or 2.3 something. Anything that has decimal place is called a floating point number. While integers are numbers that are single. They don't have points. We can have 100. We can have 0. 0 is also an integer. So these are what? All numerical data types. Then we have text data type. Text data type are, we have strings and characters. Characters are A to Z. Anything from A to Z is a character. While strings are anything, let's say is, comma, and Ephraim, all these are what? Strings, right? Anything that combines characters are like A, B, C to Z. Anything that combine one or two characters together, you no longer, when two characters come together, they are no longer a character. It is now called a string. So these are all what? Text data type. We have error data type that we have already explained here. Error data type. We have, which one again? Error. We have date time. We have time. Oh, I love this. And I will say something here. Time. This is or let's say 10:30 p.m. This is a time, right? This is a time. If you want to increase the cell or the row width, you can increase it like this. Drag this grid line, drag it down or drag it up to increase or reduce, right? We'll get, if I bring this close together, you can see we have hash symbols or sign here showing. What is it telling us? That the space is not enough. How can I expand it? I can double click here on the grid line or click and drag it to get more space. I double click, then I have it here. So this is time, right? So check, this is 10:30. I will still write another 10:30. 10:30 p.m. And let's see how they are aligned. Numbers, time, date are always aligned to the right, while text is aligned toward the left. You can see it here already, that these are numbers, they are aligned to the right of the cell, while text is aligned to the left of the cell. Why is this time not aligning to the right like this one? It's very simple. When you write time, the P and M, which is post meridian, is not joined together. You must separate it. The PM is separated from the numbers, right? When you separate it, it will align to the right. This is seen as a time, but the previous one is not a time. The same thing we did. Date will also align to the left. If you check the date format I have here, is day, month, and year. So if you go and write the other way, month, day, and year, it might give you a wrong date, right? So today's date is 27th. Okay, let's say 27/04/2025. This is today's date. This is today's date. Or if I write 04/27/2025, see what will happen. Let's see. It is not aligned as date. It is not seeing it as date. If you check here, what is it showing? See data type here. Your data type will show here under number, home tab, number, see the data type is showing general. If I click on this one, it's showing me what? That it is date. If I click on this one, it is showing me custom. If I click on this one, it is showing general. This is time. This is date, but this is not date, and this is not time. Why? Excel here, I've set my computer that the date format of my computer should be day, month, and year. If I want this one to show a date, I need to change the date format in my computer. That's the one Excel will know, the one in my computer. If your own is month, day, year, this one will work for you. But for me, it will return an error here. This is not a date. Are we together? So these are the basic data types we have. For you to enter data in Excel, take note of this place here. Can you see? I said they call the status bar. This is our status bar. It is showing ready here. What does it mean? And check here where we have the cell selector. It is showing ready and nothing is blinking inside, right? The cursor is not blinking inside, or the pointer indicator not blinking inside, right? It means it is ready to accept anything. It is ready to do anything you want it to do. But now I've typed something, it's showing what? Enter. Once I click inside, it's showing what? Enter. You can see the because of blinking inside, right? It is showing me, it is telling me I can enter value. I can enter anything. Here, I have entered something already. It is showing ready. Why? It does not know if I want to highlight, ready to highlight, ready to edit, ready to overwrite. So I can type anything. But if I double click inside, it means what? I want to edit. Why? Because there is already a content. There's already something inside the cell. Are we following? There is something, a content, or the cell contains a value, a text, anything inside of it. That's why if I double click inside, I'm not entering. I'm only editing what is inside. So here, because there's nothing inside, if I double click, it will not show me edit, it will show me enter. I can enter something, right? I can enter any of this data type here and it will work for me. So for you to highlight, how do you highlight? You drag, you click and drag. But if you are entering, if your status is showing enter and you want to highlight, it not go work for you. Chasing, it will not work for you, right? So it must always be at ready. Or if it's showing edit, you cannot also highlight when it's showing edit. You can only highlight within that cell. When you want to highlight across cells, it must show ready here, then you highlight. Remember, if I want to highlight this and highlight this one, non-contiguous elements, non-contiguous cells, I cannot highlight like that. I want to highlight this and I want to also highlight it without highlighting the middle here. I cannot. I can only highlight like this, or do Control A to highlight everything in this cell. Control A here to highlight the entire sheet. But here, because there's a content, if I do Control A, then they will automatically know where I have something inside and highlight it for me. So if I want to highlight non-contiguous cells, I highlight this one. I hold my Control key, then move to another place, highlight, hold my Control key. My Control key is still pressed down. I can highlight non-contiguous cells. So a beautiful thing here under status bar is what? Is quick analysis or summary of our data. I have something 1, 2, 3, 4. I have this. Let me do summation here, auto sum. So if I highlight this whole thing, you will see a count here. The count is what? 30. It means 30 cells contains values inside. So this is not the only thing you can see here. It will show the sum, it will show the minimum, the maximum, and every other thing. But I'm not seeing them here. How do I get it? I right click here on the status bar, right click, and come here. You pick, you mark all of them. This is sum, right? This is minimum. I check minimum, I check maximum, I check numerical count, average, and any other one I want to check. So if I check here, I am seeing count is 30, numerical count is 12. But my sum is not showing. Let me highlight here. You can see average, right? Because they are all numerical values. You see, average of this is 4. Average of 3 plus 4 plus 7 is 4. It has shown us a quick analysis. It will show us the count is 3. There are 3 cells. Numerical count is still 3. Minimum value there is what? 3. The maximum number is 7. Sum is 14. 4 plus 3 is 7 plus 7 is 14. So it will show us a quick analysis of our data, the one we have here. The one we have highlighted, not the one we have. If I highlight everything, it will show me count. The total count is 30. I've highlighted 30 cells that contain value inside. Why the numerical count is 12? How many cells contain numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Where is 12? Maybe 1 is there. So it will count both date and time as number, right? Both date and time, it will count that number, float, decimal numbers. Any question? Any question before we call it a day? Question, contribution, concern. We'll stop here for today. And I will give you assignment. This is the assignment you have. I will drop it in the Google Classroom right now. So, question. You want to ask question? Please be asking me question. So this is your exercise. Create a simple contact list with name, phone number, and address. So this is how to create a contact list. Let me quickly create it for us. I have this. I have name. I have name here. Is it name and what? Name, phone number, and address. I have name, phone number, and what? Address here. Address. So you need to create this list like this for me. When you're done, you format it. I format it, I come here, I make it a table for me, like a table, by putting borders. I put border, I also format this with a different color. I come to this fill color. I change this to red. I come to this place, change it to white. And I can make it bold. So you all need to start entering names here, phone numbers and address. Don't forget, I say you can increase this. You can increase the column. So for me to increase the column, I turn at M here, the right one, and drag, not the left. If I want to increase M, I should not stand here. I should stand on the right grid line and increase so that the phone number can enter. Same with address, can increase. So when you have any error, that will do with wrap testing. When we come next time, we explore wrap test here. Where's my wrap test? Yeah, we explore wrap test, merge and center. So I have this is like my contact list. My contact list. So enter names as much as you can, enter phone numbers as much as you can, and their addresses. Then you submit it. If you can format your own, the more you format it nicely, you have more marks. So this one, I cannot just put it here. I can highlight across like this. Come to merge here, I say merge and center. I merge and center so that it will be in the middle of them, like this. So I can also give it, I can bold it, give it a different color. If I want it red, I can give it red. Format your own to be nice. Something like this. So this is my contact list. I'll start entering our data. All right. Any question in the absence of no question, we call it a day. If you have a question, please ask. Silence means no question. All right, we'll call it a day. Thank you very much for staying to the end of the class. I really appreciate your patience. If you don't understand anything at the course of your practice, feel free to DM me or drop the message in the group chat. Then I'll respond. I'll answer you immediately. You can call me 10 a.m. You can call me 5 a.m., 4 a.m. I will answer you. Good night and have a wonderful week ahead. See you on Tuesday for the 2 of Isaiah class. Thank you very much. Bye.